Hello YouTube, my name is James and I currently live in Seoul, Korea. I'm getting into the YouTube business, so to speak, because there's frankly a lot of bad information out there, specifically towards information technology products, mobile phones, internet, deals, and that sort of thing. A little bit about me: I've got 7 years or so in the IT business. I'm actually a business owner here in Korea, and I've actually got some customers in Japan and Southeast Asia, as well as, of course, the United States. I've been in Asia here for going on 3 years already. I've lived in Japan for about half of that. Recently here moved to Korea with my fiance. Before that, also spent some time in Vietnam, Thailand, Taiwan, China, you name it. Kind of bounced around a little bit, trying to do odd jobs and contract work, that sort of thing. I love communications things. I love internet. I love mobile phones. I love LTE. I love 3G. I love WCDMA, HSDPA. You name it. CDMA, GSM, WCDMA. It's a hobby, a passion. It's just something I really enjoy doing. Unfortunately, like I said, there's just a lot of people out there giving really bad advice to people coming to this part of the world, either for short-term trips or to live their life, or to be a student for a couple of years, whatever you want. So I'm going to go over some of the basic things. In this one here, I'm going to talk about mobile phones and internet for both Korea and Japan. So I'll kind of talk about it. So first of all, let's touch on Korea. It's pretty straightforward. Or we'll start with prepaid in Korea. Prepaid in Korea is expensive, and it's also pretty expensive in Japan. Most options here are going to involve renting a phone or renting a data device. You can get SIM cards get SIM cards in Korea, but they will only provide you with minutes. The only exception to this is Evergreen Mobile, which has this, they sell SIM cards for them at, I believe it's Incheon Airport. There's a store there called K-Books. It's right next to the McDonald's, actually, at Incheon Airport. Go in there, ask them for a SIM card, and they do have up to 1 gig of data. It's about $30 for that. It's good for 30 days, and it has, like, I think, a couple hours of talk time on there too. It's pretty good way of doing it. To get a prepaid, you're going to need a passport, basically, and you're good. If you want to sign a contract in Korea, it's a little more difficult. You need to have your ARC, or your alien registration card, and it has to have a year or more on it to get that. So if you're a teacher, for example, this is going to create some problems. With KT and SK, for example, they will make you pay for the phone in advance, or at least half the phone, since you only have a 1 year status, which is only half of what the contract requests. U Plus will be the exception to this. Sometimes they will allow you to get the phone with the discounts despite your visa lacking a year of status. So there's that. Your costs on these for prepaid, like I said, is very expensive. The prices change constantly. If you're looking for prepaid, guys, it's all in English. All the carriers here have English. Just do the research. Just Google it. Again, the carriers are U Plus, which is owned by LG, KT, Korea Telecom, SK, which is South Korea Telecommunications. Those are the 3 big ones. There are some smaller MVNOs, or which are resellers, out there as well. Hello Mobile is the one. I don't have much experience with them, but their prices are, again, about the same. So yeah. So if you do want to buy a phone in Korea, and you do have a visa status, like for me, for example, my fiance went with me. We ended up putting them in her name because it was just easier, and it was just a lot less headache. And despite me being here on what is a marriage visa, they give it to me in year increments at the start, so I would have had to pay a deposit and everything, and I just thought, you know what, I'll leave it in her name, and a couple years down the road, when my visa status changes to a full visa, then I'll put stuff in my own name. So if you have a mobile phone, you have all the visa, what are you going to pay? Depends on your phone carrier, how much internet you use, and how much minutes you talk. I have a 6 gig plan, 6 gigs of internet, 250 minutes a month, and I think like 1,000 SMS messages. With that, I pay about $65, well, about $60 a month. I use U plus LTE, and the reason for that is recently U plus has the best LTE network in Korea. Before that, when it was just 3G, U plus had a horrible network, and they still do. And maybe I'll get taken off the internet for saying that, but there's a little internet censorship thing going on in Korea. Yeah. Needless to say, all three carriers are really great. SK is also a very big one, very popular. They've got great technology and pretty good coverage, if not the best coverage overall with 3G and that sort of thing. However, I think U plus with their LTE rivals their coverage, if not a little bit better with LTE than SK can produce. SK has the most money. They're the biggest company. They have 50% of Koreans use SK currently. But with that, please, for the non-IT people out there, keep in mind that internet capacity, phone capacity is much like a highway. The more people you have using it, the slower it gets. So SK, yes, they are the most popular. They have the most expensive network, or backhaul technology and stuff, but they also have the most people using it and the most people slowing it down. U plus is on the other end. They are the smallest company. They've got, as it stands right now, the most LTE coverage, a great network. You can do all the research you want, but I have done that, and I have determined U plus to have the best speeds, and personally using it, LTE speeds I get up to 30 to 40 down, and 20 to 30 up. It's a great network, and U plus is also the cheapest one out of the three. KT is a little more lenient, or I should say a little more lenient towards international phones and that sort of thing. If you want to take a phone from your home country and bring it here and use it, they have relatively good support for that. SK, depending on the store, they are cool with that. But yeah, KT is also very friendly towards foreigners, but I think U plus a little more so. SK not so much, because again, they have half the population of Korea. They don't really need more customers. I mean, of course they want them, but they're rolling in it, so they're good. So long story short, U plus has the best network. They're the cheapest. KT is really middle of the road both ways, price and coverage, and SK is supposedly the best coverage. I would challenge that, and the best network, again, I would challenge that, but they're also the most expensive. But reputation wise, they are known for everything. SK will tell you that U plus does not have little micro cells, which are little cell phone towers in subways and that sort of thing. That's not so true. Usually all three carriers have that. I've been out into the sticks of the Korean countryside, where there's not a soul to be found, and I had half bar, half signal, and I was still pulling 17 megabytes down LTE. In Seoul, I've never seen my service drop 1 bar, ever. I've never seen, and I don't mean like I've dropped a call, I mean like you have 5 signal bars. I have never seen even one of those bars go down. They are ridiculously well covered here. Wi-Fi, all three carriers have Wi-Fi points. You can sign up. Sometimes it's free, sometimes you pay a fee for it, which is great if you do not have an unlimited internet plan, or you want to, do something like that. Or if you want to get a really low internet plan and just use Wi-Fi, because that is unlimited. U plus Wi-Fi, compared to that of KT and SK, it's nowhere near as good. But I will easily take the LTE coverage over Wi-Fi. Every major train station and stuff is going to have U plus, and it is getting better, but we'll get into that. All three carriers now jumping into the home internet. All three carriers offer home internet, home TV, and home phone. If you sign up as a package, you're going to get great discounts. Again, I choose U plus for all of these because the discounts were great. I pay $34 a month for my home internet services. That includes internet, TV, 130 something channels, and a home phone. So it's a pretty good deal overall. Yeah, so it's definitely something to look into, is those package deals. So phone lineup. All three carriers here are going to have almost identical phone lineups. Foreign models are relatively hard to find, but I mean most Korean phones are pretty cool. So excuse me here, I'm going to close this door real quick. I think there's some people watching some TV in the other room, so yeah, so that's pretty much it. Rules for getting internet and home service are the same as a mobile phone. Have your registration card or passport and all that kind of information with you, and you should be just fine. So let's go ahead and jump over to Japan. A little more difficult and a few more options. We'll start out here with prepaid in Japan. SoftBank is the most popular, for sure. They do have some things with data now, but they are slowly getting more expensive, as they say, the ever-increasing costs. I would not advise SoftBank prepaid, despite everybody that seems to have it. It's just not that great. It's exceedingly expensive for voice too. Other options. AU also has prepaid service. B Mobile, B is in Bravo, Mobile. You can buy these prepaid SIM cards from Amazon Japan, from B Mobile's website. Yodobashi Camera in Akihabara, I know that one for sure, and a couple of their small, shops that sell unlocked phones in Akihabara also sell these prepaid SIM cards. And the last, more recent one is Aeon. It's a department store. They actually have their own prepaid service that uses DoCoMo network, and I should say B Mobile also uses DoCoMo's network. And these vary from 10 to 60 bucks a month, and they have some with phone numbers, some that don't. Some with, like if they don't have a phone number or a working phone service, it's just for data. Great for like a tablet or something like that. And another option for the Americans. Or if you have an Amazon America account and a mailing address in America, you can buy a Amazon prepaid SIM card that does work in Japan. It's a relatively new option. It's not the best deal, but it's not the worst either. So to buy one of these SIM cards, you do need a copy of your passport. Also, please understand, buying a prepaid or contract phone in Japan does take a little bit more time. It usually takes about an hour to 2 hours for them to review your information and process that request. Postpaid. And some of this information will cover prepaid as well. Postpaid, there's a couple more carriers involved here. You have DoCoMo, the largest, SoftBank, the second, AU, which is now third. eMobile is pretty much gone. SoftBank has pretty much swallowed them up. And then there's Wilcom. Wilcom is going to be the cheapest, but they only offer basic phones. Their coverage is really limited, and their service is unreliable, but it does give you a phone number. It is probably half the cost on voice minutes than any other carrier, but it is just for talking and maybe some picture messaging and very basic web browsing. They do not have any smartphones as far as I know. SoftBank and AU kind of go back and forth with their pricing. You're going to pay anywhere from about 55 bucks to about 90 bucks, depending if you get an iPhone, an Android, or Windows. iPhone on SoftBank or AU is going to be cheaper. The data plans are always about 10 bucks cheaper than the other phones. I don't really know why. My guess would be that Apple limits a lot of the syncing and downloading options over the web. So maybe that's just they don't use as much data, so therefore you aren't required to use as much or as heavy of a data plan. I personally use DoCoMo. They are the most expensive. but they just have, in my opinion, hands down the best network. With that being said, things have changed recently. LTE networks have started to light up over there, and my last 6 months there, LTE was starting to come around. LTE on DoCoMo is definitely, competitive. However, I've seen LTE from AU and SoftBank rival, if not exceed, DoCoMo. So why did I choose DoCoMo, or stick with DoCoMo, do you ask? There's a couple reasons. First of all, the phone lineup for DoCoMo, I think they've got the best phones. They have a lot of Korean models and a lot of color options for Japanese model phones that other carriers don't have. Specifically Fujitsu. Fujitsu is the only Japanese phone maker that still makes their phones in Japan. They have a great Fujitsu lineup. They do not have the iPhone. However, I don't care for the iPhone. If you do, you can buy an unlocked one and you can use that on DoCoMo. DoCoMo is the only carrier that supports unlocked phones on their network. You just need to tell them, I have an unlocked phone, and they will change your internet provider, this internet service or data service, to a different service, not a standard DoCoMo service. It'll be Mopra. Mopra U. You can Google search Mopra U, and it's you can get all the information on it. Basically, what this gives you is, if you use a standard DoCoMo handset like the one here, or a SIM-free one like I've been using, you're going to be given two options. There's a 7 gig data plan, and then there's one that's a 3 gig. After you use that set amount of data, it goes to 128 kilobits per second. However, I've burned through 13 gigs in a month and they never slowed me down. So I think it's more of a scare tactic. Or maybe they just do it against repeat offenders. But yeah, do what you need. You can buy more data than that if you want. I think they sell it in 2 gigabit blocks at your cost. I think 1,000 yen per gigabyte or something. The 3001 is 1,000 yen less, so it saves you about $10. So that might be a good option for some people. The other nice thing with DoCoMo is they will unlock your mobile phone for 3,150 yen. So for about $30, no matter what phone you bought from DoCoMo, they'll unlock it and you can use it in another country. AU and their LTE phones, like say an Optimus G, a lot of these LTE phones now have global roaming capabilities. You'll see it on the phone's printed advertisements or manual. It'll say World Phone, and that means it has basically a SIM card slot. With this option, what you can do is some models, not all models, especially Japanese ones, are blacklisted in my opinion. LG, Motorola, HTC, you can get unlock codes from third-party resellers. I use sellunlocker.net. I have no affiliation to them. Just saying, that's who I used. It's $15. They're, they're high success rate and all that good stuff. If that's what you want to do. So you could take a phone either from DoCoMo or AU, but I just prefer to unlock my phones through DoCoMo just in case there's a problem. I have someone to yell at. But I have unlocked AU phones, and I have used them in other countries, and yes, they do work, but it must be a global phone. SoftBank, everybody will tell you that you can unlock their phones, and in theory, yes, you can. However, the software they use and the way they go about locking these phones is so incredibly difficult. And keep in mind, I'm an IT geek, and even I will just stay away from the carrier and away from its phones whenever possible. It's just a headache. Everything. On that subject of phones and carriers and choosing a carrier, when you go to sell your phone, either you're going to go back to your home country and you don't want it, you're going to buy something new when you get there, or you just want to change models, you want to sell the old one and go buy a new one. SoftBank, you cannot sell that phone until the phone has been paid off in full. In Japan, you pay, in Korea, you pay your phone in installments over the length of the contract. So if you owe half a year or a year left, you're still going to have to pay that in advance before you can sell it. Sometimes that's not, that wipes out any profit you're going to make from selling it. with AU and SoftBank. DoCoMo is the only carrier outside of E-Mobile, but like I said, they're kind of going away. DoCoMo is the only carrier that you can sell their phones at pretty much any shop, especially like Akihabara, and they will not check the status of your contract or anything like that. You can just sell it and switch it and keep going. So basically your resale value on DoCoMo phones is much higher than that. I would say double, if not triple that of an AU or a SoftBank. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for that. If you do cancel a subscription on any carrier, you're looking at about $90 fee, and you're going to have to pay out whatever remainder of the contract of phone installments. So if you have 3 months left and you still pay $20 a month for the phone, you're going to have to pay them the cancellation fee plus the $60 you still owe them for the phone. So be aware of that. And for some of the more techie things here, LTE unlocking 3G and blah blah blah. The big thing you're going to want to look for is the 2100 megahertz frequency for 3G phones. If you have an international phone, it's unlocked, you want to use it here, make sure it can do HSDPA on, or 3G on 2100 megahertz. That will work on SoftBank and on DoCoMo. And the reason I say on SoftBank is there are ways you can go about using a SoftBank iPhone SIM card with any unlocked phone, Android, Windows, iPhone, whatever. You can do that. I have friends that do that. However, there are ways that SoftBank can tell you are not using the iPhone that they sold to you with the contract. So in theory, if they change the rules or they start busting people and you're using, say, like a Samsung Galaxy S3, S4, and you're using an iPhone SIM and they determine that this is not the phone they sold you, they will cancel your unlimited data plan and they're going to charge you per kilobyte, which is going to be, you know, a $600 phone bill. So again, if you're using an international phone or you want to, you know, roll international phones or a phone that's not sold domestically in Japan, definitely stick to DoCoMo or a prepaid SIM card that that offers those options to you. Like I said, LTE networks, they've all got them now. I've used them all. LTE and overall coverage, DoCoMo is best. Their speeds are very admirable. However, like I said, in some areas I have seen SoftBank and AU beat out DoCoMo. But again, DoCoMo is the most heavily used carrier in Japan. Unlocking phones, kind of like I said, went down that. 3G, MOPRA, and sales. If you're going to get into the whole unlocking a phone or bringing an international phone, or you're having issues getting this phone to work on this carrier, that sort of thing, your best option is to go to a really, really good store. The DoCoMo Smartphone Cafe in Hibiya is great. They deal with unlocked phones all the time. The other thing you can do is most DoCoMo shops in Akihabara will also help service unlocked phones on their network. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for you guys. But yeah, like I said, in Japan, expect to pay anything from $65. If you get a really high-end plan with a lot of minutes and data, $100 and $110 a month, and that's with tax fees and the phone installment included in that price. Carriers, get who you want. If you want the best, get DoCoMo, and they're going to be the least amount of hassles overall in the long run. SoftBank and AU are going to save you a little bit, but again, you got to ask yourself, is it worth it? If you just want an iPhone, you're going to live there for 2 years and then go home, yeah, sure, go for it. But if you're, you know, kind of looking into some of the other options, or you think, oh, I want a new phone in 6 months or a year, don't do SoftBank or AU. It's going to end up
okay, so
more.
I forgot to add this part in.
For your home internet in Japan, a lot of, when you get your own apartment, a lot of realty companies will try and include internet in the apartment. Like they'll say, hey, you know, we'll give you 3 months free, just sign here. Don't do that. your best option is go to a big department store or an electronics store like Yodobashi or Lobby. They're going to have a lot of promotions. You can get home internet from various companies, and you're going to get anywhere from $200 to $500 in a gift certificate for a 2-year contract. The other option is there's the 4G Wimax Wi-Fi hotspots. These are from like UQ Wimax. The great thing with this is you do not need a Gaijin card for that because it's not a phone. It doesn't have a phone number. The law in Japan states it does not need it. So all you need is a credit card from any country and a passport, and you can get the 4G Wimax. The coverage is constantly improving. The speeds, realistically, 10 to 12 megabytes on a good day down, and maybe 2 to 6 up, and that's indoors. So I have seen it get as slow as 3 or 4 megabits down, but again, for streaming and that kind of stuff, it's totally fine, and it is unlimited, really unlimited mobile internet. And they even have options that you can buy a little dock for it and turn it into a Wi-Fi for your home. The other one, of course, is your more standard internet, like NTT Flex, which has a variety of service options. SoftBank is going to be the cheapest, but the speeds are the lowest. With NTT Flex, it's probably 80% of Japanese people have that. It's 100 down, 100 up. It's typically called Flex B. Your prices will vary slightly depending on what kind of home you live in. If it's a bigger building, it's a little bit cheaper. If it's a small building or like a standalone home, it's a little more expensive. There are options out there that offer gigabit and 2 gigabit services in select areas. They are a little bit more money. They also cost a ton of money to install, and you have to pay to get them taken out again and pay the owner for damages of cables running into the home and that sort of thing. So just do what's available. 100 megs down, 100 megs up. It's plenty of speed for you. And yes, I know there's some torrent options out there that might utilize more than that, but you're a very small race. So yeah, for your home internet, don't let someone sign it up for you, because they're usually going to just give you a couple months free, and then the majority of the free gift that the company's issuing, they're going to pocket it. So if they would say, hey, we'll sign it up for you, just go to Yodobashi or an electronics store yourself, give them your address, and sign on up. And it's a great deal, great benefits, and great options. Just take a look at it. There's some awesome things out there. So good luck shopping, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.